Welcome to Creative Conversations, where creatives connect and inspire. I'm Sophia, and today we'll be diving into the creative world of Angela, talking about her beautiful paintings. So let's get inspired. Hello, Angela. Thank you so much for coming on today. It's a pleasure to have you on here. You know, I've been admiring your work for years now, so it's so crazy to finally get to have the chance to speak to you.
Definitely. I feel the same way about you as well. It's been so lovely seeing like our journeys and growing like near each other and stuff on Instagram.
Oh, thank you so much. So where did your paintings begin then? When did this creative adventure of yours start?
Ooh, okay, yeah. So I left high school when I graduated. I
Yeah.
was very undecided of what
Oh,
to
really?
do. And so, yeah, so I was, funny enough, getting ready to join the military.
No way. Really?
And
That's
just
such
because
a contrast.
I know, definitely. It's because I'm
Yeah.
so like in the moment and zen, and it's at the time I just was just kind of flowing with the wave of other
Yeah.
people's journeys, trying to figure out my own.
Yeah.
And that same summer preparation, I picked up a paintbrush and I went outside and I picnicked, just like me sitting on the grass. Cheap paints too, like 50-cent cardboard, 50-cent paints, and just painted and painted like almost every day until
Yeah.
I realized that I was painting every day. I didn't think about it. It just would always
No.
like come to me, and eventually I would like record it and post it, and people would let me know like, hi, like this is like really like refreshing. It's new to me. Like no one really shares their art, and
Yeah.
I was receiving a lot of positive feedback, and
Wow.
also people told me that they like were looking forward to seeing my work. So I
Yeah. The
realized
positive feedback really helps, doesn't it, to motivate you? Were you posting it on
absolutely.
social media at the time? Is that where it was being seen?
Yeah, it was being seen actually on a platform called Snapchat.
Oh,
I didn't post it
Snapchat.
anymore.
Really? Was that when the image disappears after a while, though? That's a bit of a tease for the
Yeah,
art.
exactly. So it was 24 hours, and people only
Yeah.
had that time frame to see what was I doing at that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
And
crazy. So did you
yeah, and
decide, oh, maybe the military's not for me then? I'm going to go into paintings.
bingo.
Bingo. I love
I
that. I love that you've got
yes.
such different dynamic to your personality. Like, I'm a big believer that you should be able to be everything you want to be and nothing should hold you back. Do you know what I mean? Like, there might be a part of you that's a total tomboy and, you know, you don't mind getting a bit dirty and going off in the military. And then there's another part of you that wants to create this beautiful art. And it's great to be able to be open to all kinds of things with your personality.
Yeah, I agree. The duality that everyone has is just
Yeah.
all about figuring out where we want to um, hone in the most of.
Yeah, exactly. Like I never
Yeah.
thought I was going to go into modeling. It just kind of happened randomly. And I went and did that for a
Mhm.
while and I was like, "Oh, I miss my art. How can I combine the both, you know?" And now I'm at this
Yeah.
kind of exciting new point in my career where I'm like, "Oh, this is actually becoming a thing, becoming like a living piece of art." And you never know how that's going to
Yes.
turn out.
Oh, and it's turning out beautifully, by the way. I love seeing, especially like you painting on the backdrops. Such a
Oh,
marvelous
thank you
idea.
so much. I really appreciate that. Um, so
Also,
what kind of things did you paint when you first started then?
abstract, very, at the time, it was however I was feeling in the moment. I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about the outcome, just all the way through, like, what color should I use? What color am I feeling? The brush stroke, and just experimenting with
Yeah.
those different techniques that I can do with painting, and just eventually I'll come up with the final piece.
What kind of techniques did you
Yeah.
use back then? And has that evolved over time?
Yeah. I mean, I yes and no. I've definitely still kept in my like original style, but when I would always have music playing, and I
Yeah.
would kind of put together myself and my like again like the emotions
Yeah.
with the music and apply it with the gestures of the
Yeah.
brush. So if the song's going really fast, so most likely with my hands, just naturally. Or if it's
Oh,
going
I like that you
slow,
do that because I'm exactly the same. And my recent piece, I was listening to lots of classical music because I feel like it gives you almost more dramatic kind of hand strokes. Do you feel the same?
yeah.
Yeah. What kind of
Same
music do you
here.
listen to when you're creating then? Have you got like
Well, funny
a playlist for your paintings?
Yeah, classical is definitely in there. Jazz.
Yeah.
I mean, a bunch of different genres. I always have my playlist, so it's with whatever I'm feeling that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
If
so
I'm feeling
cool.
really like cool, then I'll put on a nice rap, hip hop.
Bit of rap,
You
bit of
know,
hip
it's
hop. Does that probably? I wonder if that influences like your color choices and your style of artwork, depending on the style of music you're listening to.
yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Because it like like lyrics and that the rhythm, the tempo, like that definitely like fluctuates and kind
Yeah.
of like inspires or adjusts like where I'm going in my mood. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
didn't go into military. You started doing your paintings and your art. Was that your full time
Mhm.
income? Was that your job, or was this a hobby at the time? Where has that kind of been going since then?
Well, I the same month that I decided, I called my recruiter and I said, "Thank you for your time. I've rechanged my mind."
Mm-hmm.
That same month, I sold my first painting, and I realized because I didn't leave the military because I was going to pursue art. I just
No.
knew if I go in the military, I'm most likely not going to be able to create, and that's what
Yeah.
I just didn't want.
No.
So I sold my first painting, and I realized, like, wait a second,
I bet that was an
let me
incredible
try to see
feeling.
another. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it was reassuring.
What
It
was
was
the
very
painting that you
reassuring.
sold? Do you remember what the first piece was?
So
Of
funny
course you do.
enough,
No
it
artist
was
forgets their first sale.
yeah, of course. It was sold to a musician, and I was doing
Musician.
not yes, I was not doing a collaboration, but it was more of the idea was two artists, musician and
Yeah.
me as the painter, being in the studio and both working on our craft at the same time.
Oh,
And
that's really interesting.
so yeah, so he's making his music, his beats and everything.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, give me kind of like Mad Libs, give me a noun, adjective, and verb. Now paint it. So he did,
Ooh,
and I did that. And so it was a painting of a sun with a baby sun dancing in nature with water. Very, very
I like that.
bizarre.
I like that. I feel
I
like
was
that's
able.
what's going on in my brain all the time. That's probably why I
Mhm.
resonate with your artwork actually, is because it has that kind of element of whimsical, which is how I see the world is quite a magical place. I think you're the same.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think us arty girls kind of are, aren't we? We've created our own little worlds in our heads and not in our heads, but we make life a bit more magical. And actually, I think bringing your creative and beautiful pieces into the world is bringing a bit of magic and beauty to this place, which I think we need. We need to inject a bit more color into life.
Absolutely. And I feel the same way. Like it's that romanticizing of
Yeah.
the artistry life because it's so beautiful what we do. Like we make our own worlds and we translate our world into a canvas or like you do for like a fabric
Yeah.
and creating something new.
Yeah.
It's
No, that's
yeah.
beautiful. So you created this piece and you sold it to a musician. So did that suddenly spark your interest and think, I want to do more of this?
Yeah, it definitely made me realize like artists sell their work. And I've done it as like a part time for a while.
Yeah.
Ever since I sold that first piece, about like almost every month for 4 years, it would be either commission, working
Yeah.
with another artist, or selling a piece. So I've
Yeah.
always kept that wave going.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the time, I was working at a restaurant, I believe. And then I realized, let me find a job that's more in the art lane.
Yeah.
So then for the past 3 years, I worked as a paint instructor at a sip and paint company.
Oh, that's
So that
so
way
cool.
I
I've
can,
always wanted to host my own sip and paint, but I've always wondered how it goes when you've got a load of drunken ladies attempting to paint. Like, how does that go down? Is it
it's
difficult?
so
And
fun.
can you drink as well? Because I feel like I would be like, yeah, let's get on the bubbles. And the next thing you know, I'm painting a lopsided flower that makes no sense whatsoever. Even though I think you can't really get lopsided flowers, can you? They're organic, but you see what I'm saying. It would be a mess.
Yeah. No, it's so much fun. And I've definitely been offered drinks, but no, not on the job. Um, yeah, like, like I'm able to be in an atmosphere where people that don't paint at all just want to paint and explore and have that fun moment.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I know that one random day I did that. Not so much sipping and painting, but painting. And it sparked my life now. Maybe someone that comes in that studio and I teach, that will happen to them. And
Yeah, that's
that is
so
what really
true.
like,
Isn't it an
hmm
amazing feeling when you can inspire other people to go and follow their creative passions? And that's literally what this podcast is all about, is to kind of encourage creative people that might not have that confidence yet to kind of push themselves creatively in the industry and kind of spark some inspiration, because it's also to create like a hub of people where we can all talk art, because sometimes it can get a bit lonely as an artist, you know, it can isolate you. And
yeah,
so to kind of bring up a community where you can listen to other artists and their journey and think, oh, maybe I could do that for myself, you know? What kind of things would you I mean, for me, I love a drink and I love to paint, so it just sounds like the perfect situation. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm home painting, I'm usually a glass of prosecco, listening to music,
there
having a
you go.
groove, you know, and that helps the kind of creative juices flow, you know. Yeah, it's a shame
Absolutely.
because
And
you're based in the US, aren't you? You're far away. It's a shame we can't
oh my
drink together and paint,
gosh,
right?
I mean, it's a perfect excuse to come to London.
Yeah, please, if you ever do, I'll take you around, give you a guided tour, and maybe we can do our own sip and paint event or something. Something creative, you know? How cool would that be?
Absolutely. I think we should plan it out.
Yeah, yay! Exciting, I can't wait. I think you find the same, especially during COVID, is that you end up creating this amazing community on Instagram of creatives. And I can't remember when we found each other, but it's just amazing how you find these friends all over the world which are also pursuing their art.
I'm sure it was actually probably maybe a little after COVID is where you and
Yeah.
I found each other. But
Yeah.
I know that you've always, since my art journey, which has been about 5 years now, I just always remember you also being there on Instagram
Yeah.
alongside like that growth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were both doing really well at posting a lot and getting the work out there. You see, I ended up having some time out for a while when I was modeling and I wasn't posting on my art page. And I didn't realize how much I would miss my little creative network of people that I'd got. And like when I came back and they were still there, I was like, oh, this is great. You know, they're all still there waiting and, you know, like appreciating the work and motivating you. And it's fantastic. That's one of the good things about Instagram, isn't it? So it really is a platform to come together.
Yes, and also the fact that you have people that really love your work and are here for you as a
Yeah.
creative, and they stay no matter. And that's something that I think a lot of artists need to sit down and remember is that like no matter how many people you may have on your platform following
Yeah.
you, that community, no matter how big or small, it's so valuable.
Yeah.
And
And it
it's
doesn't
not to be
matter about
taken.
the amount, does it? Because if 20 of
Oh,
them, well, even that's a lot. Like if some of them want to buy your art or be invested in it, that's loads. You know, you don't need
yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of people that aren't engaging with it. You need just a few people that are passionate about what you do.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like very much a beautiful blessing for us artists to be able to have the opportunity to be able to have these platforms to share our work and grow a
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. So after you sold that first painting, is that how you went about selling more? Was it through Instagram? What was your journey then after that point of selling your first piece of art?
Yeah, so I think about like 4 months into posting on that application Snapchat, those people that were watching me, I noticed that some of them reached out to me saying, I've been watching you for a while. I would love to invest in some of your artwork. And so I kind of gained that, like those eyes into like looking at my work. And so whenever I would post, it was after that art piece, I would paint and then someone would buy it before it's finished. Like, cause I'm like posting that process, I'm talking about my
Posting the
message to it.
process is so important because then they get connected to it, don't they? If they can watch how it's
Yeah.
created, they get invested in that journey and then they think, oh, I've got to have it.
Yes, and also like art's like very much a like you we artists put a lot of emotion in that present time in that
Yeah.
present moment when we're creating. So even though it's still there when it's finished, when people are able to see that in that real time moment,
Yeah.
it's like people can hold on to it and resonate more.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, do you mainly sell online? Have you done art exhibitions? Do you do shows where you sell your
Yeah.
work?
So I am preparing for a show most likely next summer because I want to build my collection more.
Yeah.
Um, but I have done shows for my photography because I also do my
You're
photography
also a
with,
photographer.
yes.
Even
So
more
the
reason
same
for us
time,
to be collaborating. You need to come here.
it's funny because I started doing very subtle, not professional, but subtle modeling just
Yeah.
for like fun with my friends. Like we would like make like really creative concept shoots, right?
Yeah.
And take photos of each other, post them, this and that. And this was I would just have like the iPhone and I'm taking photos of my friends, but like they ended up really loving them. And so they're posting it. And then, yeah, so when I started my painting journey, it was
Yeah.
also alongside my photography journey, side by side.
Wow.
So I grew my clientele from that
Yeah.
because I would do photo shoots. And it was just with an iPhone, I would just take photos of people until I eventually bought a camera. And it's just been me and my camera ever since.
So is your photography a hobby, or do you make money from the photography too?
Yes, I
Yes.
do, but it really is I want to say it's just something that I do love to do, and people love
Yeah.
what I do. Like I take photos of them, so it's just kind of like a gift to have. But I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, I
And it will
always have my
help you with your
photography.
art as well. And maybe eventually you could combine the two, bit of multimedia going on. That always helps, doesn't it? I've actually recently got
Yeah,
into photography myself, but I'm like an absolute newbie. And I find trying to memorize all the settings and the lighting, there's just so much to learn with it. It can be quite daunting. So I'm taking it like step by step, just mini baby steps, with it.
I'm
But I've
so
noticed I
excited
love
for you.
taking beauty portraits of models because I like capturing the beauty in other women. After seeing so many photos of myself, I'm kind of bored of seeing my own face, but to capture something special in someone else, that is an amazing feeling. And it's really exciting. I can see why people like it.
That's why I picked up my camera also. It's the
Really.
essence. It's like it's that moment where you can show someone how you see them and that
Yeah.
beauty that not like like it's really easy to feel very insecure when once that camera's in front of you, it's like a
Yeah.
little bit like of a shocker. But being able to like comfort and show that beauty of other people, yeah, it's wholesome and
Oh,
it's
that's so lovely.
uplifting. Yeah, so
So
I
you
resonate
now
with what you're
balance the
saying.
two between the art and the photography then? You're kind of like me, how I balance the art and the modeling and kind of living one big creative lifestyle. And I'm really passionate about creating beauty in all forms. So if it's a photo of myself, if it's a piece of fabric, if it's a painting, if it's body art on someone else, I don't really mind as long as it's injecting some kind of beauty into the world. And I have a feeling that maybe you're quite similar.
Yes, I am. I don't
Yeah.
I don't think that staying in one box, oh, everyone has their favorite medium.
Yeah.
As artists, like it's kind of like we want to explore. We want to be able to translate our visions and however we can. So in
Yeah.
whatever way we can, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
Mhm.
you mentioned the importance of leaving your art in a vault. What pushed you to start exhibiting your work?
Realize well, my lovely friends,
Your lovely friends.
they're
Were they the ones that encouraged you?
I love yes, because I take all these photos of people for people and also
Yeah.
just, I just love doing it. And then, like I'm kind of showing my friends my work and they're like,
Yeah.
why is this only on Lightroom? Why aren't you like put it kind of if it's in my room, like frame
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I just never really I guess, thought of it. It just was
Yeah.
kind of, it's definitely an extra step that us artists have to take is after we're done making an art piece or photographing a work or taking a video, there is that next step of, well, do you want to do something with it? Do you want to show more people?
And it is
It could,
incredible feelings actually seeing it framed and up on a wall or presented in whichever way it is. It shows you that it is a finished piece and that you are an artist. Because sometimes when it's just hanging around in your house in a pile of other artworks, it doesn't feel as special. Sometimes you need it to kind of to go, oh yeah, look at me, look what I've done. That's a great confidence
Yeah,
boost.
exactly. And honestly, like if so, because that was also my first like open comment where I'm submitting like a piece,
Yeah.
and for some, like a lot of times when we do something for the first time, we feel like it's so hard. It's like some sort of barrier.
Yeah.
But once you do it, it's like you realize it's so much more easier than you thought it was. Like it's just more of like just a couple clicks, just
Yeah.
a little connection, and the opportunity comes.
Do you find
Yeah.
by doing the sip and paint events helped you with learning how important it is meeting new people and creators and getting those contacts? Has that helped you in the future and impacted you when it comes to your art exhibitions and selling your work?
Yeah. Absolutely. It definitely kind of, how do I want to say this? Well, at the Sip and Paint, we are getting people of all different types of demographics,
Yeah.
backgrounds, ages. Like it's definitely a prep. I had a preparation for the last 3 years of being ready to talk to anyone that approached me,
Yeah.
right? And so, and also showing that kindness, the compassion, the patience, no matter like where someone is in that present moment. And so it definitely prepared me, and it helped me gain confidence in talking and networking
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and teaching your art form is a whole other skill in itself, isn't it? Because it's easy to just create a painting when you're at home, but to then try and show people how to do that, that can be quite difficult. And I respect you for doing so, because I've done a few workshops in my time, and I do find it hard to structure it and put it into bite-sized pieces which are easy for people to follow. Because my brain is so confusing, so it's very easy to just confuse everyone else as well.
Trust me, I've had moments where I've like tried to translate what I'm doing on the canvas to people, and
Yeah,
it just not fully grasped. So just having to reiterate and things
yeah,
like that. No, it's so how do I want to say? It's so fun. Like once you're able to, you can even practice like while you're painting, just talk about what you're doing in
yeah,
life. Like, okay, now we are applying black paint on this white canvas to create a beautiful petal, and I'm moving that paintbrush. It's like towards the right at a tilt. It's like kind of like words. If you like just speak while you're painting, it also makes you more aware of what you're doing and how
yeah.
you're doing something.
Wow,
Yeah.
there's so much to learn. If I ever end up doing a sip and paint, which I've actually been asked to at a local cafe, I'll be coming to you for some advice.
Yeah.
Could you share with
Yeah.
us some of the difficulties you've had in your artistic career so far and any advice on how to overcome those difficulties?
Sure.
So,
Wow,
like
nice
any obstacles
question.
or things that have made things challenging for you in your art career?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because when you start creating, it's really solely for you, like in that
Yes.
moment, which it was. Like I feel like I was like probably daydreaming asleep for like months because I was so hyper fixated on my work, and it was like an obsession, that
Yeah.
a healthy obsession.
Yeah.
And eventually, once you start doing your artwork for yourself, and then you build a community, you're almost now sharing that art process and the art journey with other people, both
Yeah.
beautiful, but also it's not fully just for you anymore. Well, kind of. So
Yeah.
that
That can be quite
adjustment,
daunting, can't it?
yeah,
That
because you
mindset,
have
I still haven't
eyes.
quite mastered that because I still create for me. And I don't think,
Mhm.
would this piece sell? Would this look good in someone's house? Which I think is another skill you've got to learn, is kind of knowing what is going to be popular, but then without changing and losing your style. You've got to find your kind of place in the market, haven't you? And that's difficult. How did you find your style? How did you know what would be the successful thing?
Well, honestly, I'm still sort of soul searching. I would say
Yeah.
so, and I think not that I don't know what my style is, but I've come to realize that because for a while I was being really hard on myself, like trying to like put myself in more of like a box, like find my niche and this and that.
Mm.
But I've accepted that my art style is evolving as I'm evolving,
Yeah.
and so is my techniques and the way I approach things, my messages. So I've kind of freed myself from trying to consistently construct myself
Yeah.
and criticize. I think that I find myself more freeing and creating authentic pieces of work when I am being authentic with self.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
actually some really good advice for everyone, is to just stick with what you're passionate about and what you love, because that will shine through in the artwork and you will find the right people that resonate with that and connect with it. It's just a matter of keep putting it out there until they find you, rather than trying lots of different styles to see what sells. I think that that's not being true to who you are. And I think that's what's so inspiring about you, is you just kind of flow with you and how you feel and express that. And it doesn't matter if it changes over time, because it's changing with you. So it is still part of you. And that's why people connect with it. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And thank you. I appreciate it. It's also like it feels when you are able to fully put yourself in your artwork and be authentic with your work, when it comes to people asking about it, and even if it's like someone that's interested in your work, it's more meaningful. You have more of like a reason to be like, this is actually why this should be on your wall, because I
Yeah.
was doing this is the message. Like there's more you can fully approach to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I've tried to make beauty, and I still love it. I love making beautiful landscapes and things that I know would sell in stores, but I can't fully connect a full message that like. It's not fully like me. It was more just because I wanted to paint something pretty and something
Yeah.
that sold. So
Do you
yeah.
like to have a message in your artwork? What are you trying to convey with the pieces that you sell? Is there a meaning behind it?
Um.
And it's okay if there
Hmm.
isn't. It's okay to just create beauty.
I was gonna say not always. Yeah, and
No.
definitely not always, because you know, not yeah, the big events of my life, like things that are um, what's it called, pivotal moments. Those moments in my life are probably where I have my most expressive and heavy message. But in the in betweens, it's more of just me experimenting and flowing and painting, and so they don't always have a meaning, but they still have a purpose,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
And I think a lot of the paintings I do is just how I feel at the time. I think you can sometimes tell my emotions by the colours that I've used in the piece or the way I've painted it. I remember a few years ago,
Mm.
I had a big breakup with someone I was with for 5 years. He was like my best friend. So it was like losing a limb. It was a difficult time. And I didn't know what to do with all that emotion. So I locked myself in my dad's shed at the time, turned it into a mini art studio and just created these massive pieces of work. And it was white with all this black ink. And I went as far as just dunking my hands in the ink and doing all this printing. And they were some of the most amazing pieces I created. And they were so different to my normal style, because I let myself kind of just express what I was feeling, and it was dark and it was a bit gothic, but actually what came out was really beautiful, and I love those pieces. I do find it quite sad to look at them, because I can see where I was mentally when I created them, but it is fascinating to see other pieces where I've been feeling really happy and positive, and it's like an explosion of colour on a canvas with butterflies and flowers, and you can see, oh, Sophia's finding life quite magical right now. So it's interesting. Do you find the same thing with your work, where you look at it and you go, oh yeah, that was that phase of my life, and oh okay, yeah, this was definitely when I was feeling super happy and excited and motivated?
Yeah, I mean, you can see it, like you said, like with the colors you choose and
Yeah.
like the brush strokes you're doing, whether it's like a hand in the paint, just
Yeah.
tossing it, like, it's definitely you know yourself better than anyone.
Yeah.
So, I don't paint like that when I'm happy.
Yeah.
I really like those brush strokes are really just there like when I'm like feeling that heavy emotion, which by the way, I think it's so amazing. Like when we feel like either like sadness, like those like really stronger emotions, like
Yeah.
sadness, anger, pure like happiness, excitement. That's where I feel like a lot of artists do create their best work, because there's so much energy and
Yeah, so much raw
like yeah,
emotion
energy.
to channel into that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get that. I
yeah.
think my best work comes when I'm really happy or really sad, and
Mhm.
that kind of in between state, there's just not much. You might as well just be thinking about your ideas. Just wait for that rush of emotion to come through and inspire you. So you value your art of slowing down and being present, don't you? How do these principles influence the way you approach your art?
Well, beautiful transition because what you were just saying, that last statement is kind of why I slow down and take a moment for my art is because, like you can't, an artist could create every day. And if you
Yeah.
do, applause to you, but I think that it takes like, you want to slow, like for me and what I do with my process, I slow down. I maybe go outside in nature and I look and stare at a tree for like hours, or maybe just
I
write down in
love trees
paper.
so much. I am such a tree hugger at heart. And I'm exactly
Yeah,
the same. It's like if you need inspiration, go and get in touch with nature again. Take your shoes off, go and ground yourself. Because I think,
yeah,
especially some of my friends that live in London, you get so caught up in that hustle kind of work hard vibe. Everyone's in a rush. And I'm like, how are you meant to be creative in that environment? You need to slow down.
yeah, yeah. And that's the part of the process is those
Yeah.
slowing down, it's experiencing life in whatever way to do. Like I love playing piano, but it's not because I'm planning to sell or
Wow, you're so
make a.
talented. You're good at so many different things. I love that. Your photography and your art and piano as well. You should write a
Yes,
symphony and then create a painting inspired by. That would be amazing.
ooh, I love that.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
good
a really cool
idea.
idea. I really like that. In fact, I would even be
Yeah.
happy at collaborating with you on that. I wonder if there's a way that we could go on live and you play piano to me and I paint a huge piece inspired by the music that I hear. How cool would it be? And then maybe you could create a piece too, and we could compare to see how we both resonate with that music.
I love that. We
Yeah?
should we should make that happen.
I actually
Yes,
think we
yeah.
should. This is so exciting. Because I really like connecting with music for my art, and it's something that I want to explore in more. But unfortunately, I'm not very musical, which is sad because my dad was a musician, but I didn't pick up that gene, unfortunately.
We should do a challenge. Oh,
A challenge.
hello.
Hello, are you there?
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, the
We should
connection's
do
a
a
bit
challenge
crap. Yeah, okay,
where
challenge.
every time I change like the either the tempo of the piano
Yeah.
or like the note, like the high notes versus the low notes, that's when you have to like change like your brushstroke and your movements or even like a color of some sort.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds really fun. I'm totally down for that. That sounds like a really fun challenge. Maybe we could even make this bigger eventually so other people could try and do that and then create like a whole little community of people. It'd be really fascinating. Something fun for Instagram.
Okay,
I
let's do
like that. See,
it.
look at us creators coming together. We've got so many things to be talking about when we get off this podcast.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So how did you
But yes,
decide, okay, I need to slow down. I need to slow down to create the best work. How did you go about that and making changes in your life? Was it just coming out in nature? Is it what you do full time now, your paintings? How do you make time for it?
well, yeah. So, well, full time. I'm actually a full time student right now. So
Oh, what
I'm
are you studying?
studying graphic design.
Graphic
So
design,
I
another skill.
yes. Well, again, like anything I can just express in. It's something
Yeah,
that yeah, I just love. And um but I realized, so I worked at my paint studio for about like 3 years and I
yeah,
loved it. But I was managing part-time job at paint studio, full-time college, and then trying to still maintain my own art and business. And although I was doing it for a while, it was working, I was missing myself a little
yeah.
bit because there wasn't that slow down gap.
No.
And I noticed that. I'm like, okay, well, that's not fair to me, or it's not
No.
fair to my art. Um, and I loved everything I did. Like I didn't necessarily fully want to leave my paint job because I did love it.
Yeah.
However, I've learned so much. I've gained so much. I've met so many people. But
Maybe it
it
was
was
time
time to
to
close
move.
the door.
Yeah,
Yeah, time to close the door so I can open the door to slow down more and
yeah,
to experience life how it should be experienced. And
yeah.
so,
That's amazing
um,
that you listened to your gut and you followed that.
mhm.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
amazing.
mean, it was a long time though. My gut was telling me that for like a couple months, but I kind of just pushed it aside for a little bit.
Yeah,
But I realized the more I pushed it aside, the more it just kind of got louder and louder, that gut feeling.
Yeah.
Until I realized, okay,
It's
I
time
hear
to
you.
move on. I think, I don't know if it's your subconscious or something tells you when it's time to grow, you know? And it's amazing that you were in touch with yourself enough to know, like, this is the step that I need to take to be growing as an artist. So what role does your experimentation play in your artistic process, especially as you explore new mediums like sculpting? Sculpting, another one. Jack of all trades you are.
God. um, well, I mean, being the fact that I'm a jack of all trades, that is where I experiment.
Yeah.
I just, I just want, for me in my journey, like even if I'm not good at it, I don't have to be good at it, but I want to explore. I want to try. I want to at least experiment and play, right?
That's
And
really
so,
inspiring. Sometimes I stop myself from things because I need to be really good at it. Otherwise, I think, oh no, I shouldn't be doing that. It's a waste of time. But it's not. It's not. It's very
it's
healthy to
not.
be trying lots of different
Yeah,
things, isn't it? Should never
it's
lose
good
that
to, yeah.
childlike play that we have as a kid, because that's what keeps inspiring us artists.
Yeah, and also, and it's where you can get more innovative, and you can
Yeah.
think more broader, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that experimental aspect of my process
Yeah.
and that childlike wonder
Yeah.
is what keeps me from it. That's where it helps me excel as not only an artist but also just a person.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
wonderful to hear. So this is the last question. Are there any
Okay.
collaborations, exhibitions, or projects you're currently excited about or hope to pursue in the future?
I guess our new one,
Our new one.
the
I
one.
love that. You know what? I'm actually being serious about this piano and painting. I really like the idea of it. I think it's something we should make happen.
Yes, I
Yeah?
would absolutely love to do that.
That
Yeah.
sounds amazing. Yeah,
Um,
I'm so excited.
yeah. And just kind of like branching out from that answer, like just the collaborating with other artists is my like new, I guess,
Yeah.
chapter, you could say.
I think
Yeah.
that's really important. And actually, I've hit that new chapter as well. I used to isolate myself as an artist and just think, oh, it's just me. I'm creating these pieces. I'm all alone. And I liked that. I like being alone. But as years have gone on, I've discovered how amazing it is to meet other creators and collaborate and join forces and use each other's skills. And it helps kind of push you both out there. And that, again, is the aim of this podcast, is to kind of bring us all together. And like these ideas we've had about the piano and the painting, like we wouldn't have had that unless we had this chance to discuss. So thank
I
you.
love what you guys are doing. Thank you also.
You've been so
Yeah.
inspiring today and amazing to chat to you. And you're just as lovely as I thought you were going to be. I think you can tell by looking at people's art. So where can people find you, Angela? What's your social handles?
People can find me at my Instagram handle. It's body.element_. You can also find me on my website, which is bodyelementarts.online. And all my other information, such as like YouTube and other socials, will be on both platforms.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on today. This has been an amazing chat. And thank you everyone for listening. This is Creative Conversations, and tune back in for next week. See ya! Creative Conversations was hosted by Sophia Gray. It was recorded at Granary Studios, audio production by Granary Digital, additional production support and editing by James Jones. For more information, visit our website at granary.digital. To contact the show, email podcast@granary.digital. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on social media.